Hi, I'm Arabella. I'm 32. 2 weeks ago, I walked into my brother's promotion party with a gift in my hand and a fake smile on my face, and walked out with blood in my mouth. My hair? Torn from my scalp. My dignity? Crushed beneath polished shoes and polite silence. My dad hit me. My mom laughed. And my brother, he clapped. "You had it coming," he said. 68 people stood there in tuxedos and gowns, frozen like statues. Not one of them moved. Not one voice. Not one hand reaching for mine. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part is that it didn't start that night. That was just the grand finale. The curtain drop after years of quiet cruelty, of being erased at birthdays, ignored at holidays, mocked in whispers, and cut out of family photos like I never mattered. They didn't just hit me that night. They had been hitting me with silence, shame, and manipulation for years. So I made one phone call. Just one. And everything shifted. What time are you hearing this? Where are you sitting? Your car, your kitchen, in bed? Drop a comment below. Because I read every single one. And I want to know who's listening, while I finally tell the story they tried to bury. They wanted me silent. Instead, I gave them a scandal. I told myself I came because it was the right thing to do. Because family is family, even when they forget you exist. Even when they use your silence like currency. That's what I kept repeating, as I stood at the back of the ballroom, clutching my purse like it could protect me from them. Like it could hold my spine upright. The room was a theater of power. Marble floors so polished they looked wet. Golden chandeliers dripping from the ceiling like overcompensation. This wasn't for celebration. This was for image, status, control. 68 people filled that space. Laughing, toasting, pretending. And me? I was Arabella. The afterthought. The one they dragged out for photos when it suited the narrative. I told myself I came to be supportive. To prove I could be the bigger person. But deep down, I came for something far more dangerous. Hope. Hope that maybe, this time, I wouldn't leave feeling like furniture. My mother floated through the crowd like a pageant queen, smiling, perfectly timed eye contact, always just loud enough to be admired. The kind of woman who knew how to make cruelty look like manners. My father held court at the bar, surrounded by Caleb's military friends, puffing out his chest like he was the one who got promoted. And Caleb, he stood in the middle of it all, glowing under the lights like he was carved from success itself. People swarmed around him like moths. He soaked it up with ease. He saw me. He looked straight at me, and then turned his back. I should have left, but I stayed. Like a fool. A woman I barely recognized passed by and smiled that tight, brittle smile. "It's nice that you came," she said. Nice. Like I was charity work. Like I needed applause for showing up. I forced a smile. "Wouldn't miss it," I lied. Then my mother saw me. Her eyes narrowed for a breath, then her smile returned, sharp and sweet. She walked toward me with perfect poise. "You didn't need to come," she said softly. "If you had nothing nice to say." A couple nearby glanced over, clearly listening. I smiled tightly. I didn't realize existing counted as commentary. Her lips thinned. That's when Caleb showed up. Drink in hand, smirk in place. "Oh, Arabella, you're still doing graphic design? That's cute." He sipped his whiskey. "Not everyone's built to serve their country." I froze, but I didn't flinch. "At least what I do doesn't come with a built-in fan club," I said. He blinked, just once. Smirk faltered. For a second, I thought I saw him retreat, until the shadow fell across us. My father. Bloodshot eyes, jaw clenched. "What did you just say?" I opened my mouth. But I never got the chance to speak. Pain hit first, bright, sharp, disorienting. Then the silence. Not in the room, in me. The ballroom went still, but inside, I was already gone. I didn't scream, I didn't fight, not at first. My father's fist crashed into my face with all the force of decades of quiet resentment. Then his hand twisted in my hair, yanking me backward like he'd been waiting for this moment all his life. I couldn't even cry out, just a gasp, torn straight from my throat. He dragged me through the crowd like a piece of garbage. Like I was the mess he was finally cleaning up. Gasps followed us, murmurs, the hush of scandal. But no one stepped in, not one hand reached for me. And then, my mother laughed. Bright, almost cheerful. Like she was watching a comedy. Then came the sound I'll never forget. Caleb's clapping. Slow, mocking, measured. "You had it coming," he said. And that hurt more than the bruise spreading across my cheek. Out in the hallway, my father flung me aside like he was done. I stumbled, caught myself against the wall. My knees trembled beneath me. My lip was bleeding. My scalp ached where his fingers had yanked it raw. My dress, the one I saved up for, hoping to belong, was torn across the shoulder. I didn't look back. I couldn't. There was nothing back there for me. I walked. Then I ran. Through the glittering lobby. Out into the night. By the time I reached my car, my whole body was shaking. I fumbled with the keys, dropped them twice. When I finally got the door open, I collapsed into the seat and slammed it shut like it could keep them out. In the rearview mirror, I saw someone I didn't recognize. A woman with blood on her mouth, wild eyes and shoulders pulled up like she was bracing for another blow. I wiped my chin with the back of my hand, stared at the mess of myself, and whispered, "This isn't just another night, this is war." Then I reached for my phone. My hands were trembling so badly I almost dropped it. But I found the name. Donna. Back in law school, she was barely scraping by. I helped her once. Books, food, even rent. Now she was one of the most feared attorneys in Austin. The phone rang 3 times. "Arabella?" Her voice was rough with sleep. "I need help," I said. "I don't know who else to call." She didn't ask questions. "Talk to me." So I did. I told her everything. The ballroom, the slap, the dragging, the silence. I didn't sugarcoat it. I didn't excuse it. I didn't protect them. Not this time. When I finished, she was quiet for a second. Then she said, "Come to my office tomorrow morning. We're going to fix this." And something in me exhaled. Something that had been holding its breath for years. After the call, I didn't sleep. But I wasn't crying either. I wasn't even numb. I felt ready. I took photos. My face, my hair, the blood on my dress. Evidence. That word echoed in my skull like thunder. Then I scrolled to Russell's number. My landlord. Retired cop. Quiet. Watchful. "Russell, it's Arabella. I need help. Urgent." Minutes later, a text buzzed in. "You're safe. I'll dig." That was all he wrote. But it felt like armor. I iced my face. I wrapped myself in a hoodie. I sat on the floor of my apartment, knees tucked to my chest. And I whispered again, only louder this time. "They don't know what's coming." By morning, the adrenaline had worn off. Everything ached. My jaw throbbed, my scalp burned, my legs were heavy like stone. Even my breath felt bruised. I walked up the narrow stairs to my apartment like I was climbing out of something. Mud, memory, whatever they'd buried me in for decades. Inside, the silence nearly broke me. No voices, no yelling, no fake praise. Just air and stillness, and the shape of me sitting on the edge of my bed, not knowing what to do with my hands. I stared at my phone. I had Dana, I had Russell, but it didn't feel like enough. Not yet. I scrolled through my contacts, past old coworkers, distant cousins, people I used to think cared. No one else to call. That kind of loneliness, it sits on your chest like weight you can't name. But then I saw Dana's name light up. "Send me everything," she said. So I did. Photos, bruises, torn fabric, blood on my lip. 10 minutes later, she called back. "We're filing civil and criminal. But first, get checked out. Go to urgent care. Let them document everything. Keep the receipts." She didn't say, "I'm sorry." She didn't need to. Instead, she said, "They don't get to decide your silence anymore." I drove myself to urgent care. The nurse took one look and asked if I was safe. I said yes, because I was. For now. They took pictures, logged the injuries, asked questions I wasn't ready to answer. But I answered anyway. Because now this wasn't just pain. It was record. It was proof. When I got home, Russell was waiting on my stoop, holding a folder. "They didn't just hit you," he said. "They stole from you." My stomach dropped. He handed me the file. Inside, bank statements, forged authorizations, transfers from my trust account to offshore holdings linked to shell corporations. Every signature forged by my father. All of it routed to Caleb. I flipped through in silence, my name on every page, but never with permission. "This was your future," Russell said. "And they used it to promote your brother. Every dollar spent on that party was mine." I stared at the numbers until they blurred. "They used my money to celebrate the man who watched me bleed," I whispered. Russell didn't say a word. He didn't have to. There were emails too, one from my father to a finance manager. "Make sure Caleb shines. Arabella won't notice." Another, "She doesn't read statements. Quiet girl, trust me." I read that line 3 times. Quiet girl, trust me. That's who I was to them. A body to move around, a name to sign off, a bank account to bleed dry. I wasn't their daughter. I was their funding. I felt something cold spread through my chest. Not sadness, not even anger. Something sharper. Clarity. Later that night, Dana called again. "I just spoke with a financial crimes specialist. This qualifies as grand larceny, and that means they're not just going to lose reputation, Arabella. They could lose everything." Her voice was calm, steady, like she was used to people panicking on the other end of the line. But I wasn't panicking anymore. I sat with that truth like it was a flame in my palm. My breath came slower, steadier. I wasn't just a problem to hide. I was a threat now. And they were about to find out what that really meant. I parked outside their house at dusk. The neighborhood looked the same as it did when I was 16 and praying for a way out. Perfect hedges, identical driveways, every mailbox polished like it meant something. But I was different now. I wasn't the girl begging to be loved. I was the woman they pushed too far. I walked the familiar stone path with slow, even steps. Not because I was scared, because I wanted them to hear me coming. My mother opened the door before I could knock, as if she'd been standing behind it, rehearsing. "Arabella," she said, her voice soft, pitiful. "Thank you for coming. Let's just get to it." She flinched, but stepped aside. Inside, the house smelled like lemon polish and tension. Everything looked curated, like a stage. In the formal living room, they were all there. My father, stiff in a charcoal suit. Caleb, lounging like this, was his show. And my mother, hands folded, smile brittle. On the coffee table sat a thick folder of papers. Neat. Controlled. I didn't need to read it. Catherine had warned me. They'd try to buy me off. "We want to resolve this," my mother said, "as a family." Caleb scoffed. "You mean because she's blowing everything out of proportion?" I looked at him, and my voice came out like ice. "Still proud of clapping while I bled, Caleb? Must be nice, celebrating your promotion with my money." His smirk faltered. My father's hand clenched the armrest. "Enough," he said. "Sign this, take the payout, this goes away." I picked up the top page. Non-disclosure. Waiver of claims. A gag order disguised as a gift. "Funny," I said. "You think my silence has a price?" "It's just a bruise," Caleb muttered. "Why blow up the family?" "You watched him drag me out by my hair," I snapped. "You applauded." My mother leaned in. "This will protect everyone, including you." That's when I saw it. A small voice recorder near the lamp. Subtle. Not enough. They wanted to trap me. I placed the paper down gently, straightened it, smiled. "You still think I'm her," I said. "The girl you gaslit into silence. The one you made feel crazy. The one who believed love meant staying small." My father stood. "Don't push this, Arabella." I stood too. "You think this is pushing? No, this is warning." Caleb laughed. "You're bluffing." I turned to the door. "Keep thinking that." Outside, the air hit me like a slap, but I wasn't shaking. I was steady. I drove straight to the diner. Catherine was already there. Rick, too, folder in hand, eyes hard. "We ready?" I asked. Rick nodded. "They used your money to fund fake companies. It's all in here." Catherine slid a flash drive across the table. The full video. Unedited. Him hitting you, dragging you, Caleb clapping. I stared at it, let it burn into my hand. Then we burn it all down. That night, Jenna dropped the article. The video exploded online. My father's hand, my mother laughing, Caleb smiling. Comments poured in. Who hits their daughter in public? She bled. He clapped. By morning, my father's company lost contracts. Caleb resigned. My phone rang nonstop. My mother never called. Then came the text. "You think you've won? You don't know what's coming." It wasn't from my father. It was from someone worse. And I didn't flinch. Because now I was the storm, not the victim. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at my kitchen table, laptop open, evidence spread like war plans, bank transfers, forged signatures, emails, trust fund documents. The glow of the screen lit my face as I watched the video again. My father's hand, my mother's laugh, Caleb's applause. They wanted me to be humiliated. Instead, they gave me ammunition. At sunrise, I showered, got dressed, and drove to Catherine's office. She didn't ask how I was. She just opened her laptop and said, "Let's finish this." We finalized the press package, legal strategy, timelines. She moved with precision. I moved with purpose. By midday, I walked into a cafe downtown, sat across from Jenna, the journalist. I handed her a flash drive. Everything was on it. "This stays anonymous," I told her. She nodded. For now. Hours later, the story broke wider. Not just abuse, not just fraud. Systemic silencing, emotional laundering, financial erasure. The article called me the daughter they tried to delete. It trended for 2 days. Support came in like waves. Strangers, survivors, even people I hadn't spoken to in years. "You gave me courage. I thought I was alone. They never protected you. But you protected yourself," Dana called. "They want to settle." "No," I said. "We go public, full court, all of it." The next day, we walked into court with everything. Cameras, reporters, gasps in the hallway. Catherine stood like a sword in a blazer. Rick brought the records. My family sat across from me, pale and cornered. For the first time, they looked small. The judge reviewed the file, his brow furrowing deeper with every page. "This is not a civil dispute," he said. "This is criminal." And just like that, the power shifted. Later, standing outside in the sunlight, Catherine asked, "Do you feel better?" I thought about it. "No," I said, "not better, just right." Because it wasn't about revenge. It was about reclamation. I walked away that afternoon not as a victim, not even as a survivor, but as someone who finally stopped apologizing for taking up space. They wanted me to be silent. So I gave them a story the world couldn't ignore. If you've ever been made to feel small, invisible, or erased, you're not alone. Tell me in the comments, what moment made you finally say, "Enough"? Because I read them. Every single one. And sometimes sharing your story is the loudest kind of healing.